remember, Dan, how sustainable eventually all of this would be. So the borrowing's been done. You agree or not, it doesn't matter. But how sustainable is this for the purpose of upholding our subsidy removal that we decided that we want to stay on?
Yes, I was saying, it's something that is a good step at the point, okay? The president of the NNPC is trying to look at a way to just mitigate the situation that we have in our hands, the challenges, the problem in the country, and the hardship that is faced by many Nigerians. And it is believed that with this fund, there's a way that Nigerians will be able to feel a little ease. But, very important, we need to understand that no matter how much we borrow, okay, let's not forget that the fund has to be repaid. And Nigerians are already suffering. We don't want a situation where in the future, this same borrowing will now be what will be affecting the people again.
Daniel, it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
Yes,
so
that's
speaking
the
of
truth.
sustainability,
It's not
this borrowing will happen
sustainable.
again. Do you not already see it happening?
You
before the year is over?
you have money coming in. You want to use that money to manage fuel pump price. When you can take your time, borrow quality money, repair one refinery, and use that refinery to,
power up the
power
entire
up.
financing of the NNPC.
So you ask yourself,
But don't let us forget.
in 24 years of democracy, all of these so-called presidents cannot say, okay, my regime, and let's call it the way it is, my regime will take care of Kaduna refinery and will make it work in 100%.
Within 4
And then
years, within 10 years.
Tinubu should take
This
Port
is what
Harcourt
we're doing.
refinery and say, this amount is how much I borrowed to power up Port Harcourt refinery, and we are paying back in bits.
I mean,
that will work.
Tinubu has promised that the Port Harcourt refinery would work before the year is over. We are waiting.
I've lived in Nigeria for close to 30 years. I know that promises don't work.
But we are waiting.
But the question is, what is happening right now?
Right.
What is happening right now?
And on what is happening right now, while we make a close on the story, I think it's equally important that we look at how we are not able to sustain what is going on and the fears of Nigerians as to how many more of these borrowings we would do, which again doesn't take us or put us or place us in the right place.
It's a fight against the dollar, and you borrow today, and you are not putting in capital infrastructure that will bring in money. You are not putting it in something that will bring in money. You are putting in something that you are managing. And then when you finish managing it, you will have to borrow again. That's just the challenge.
So while we hope for an end to the borrowings that we have, especially in the oil sector, we finally today are moving to look at the ARCON, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, all eye on the judiciary advert. Now, there's been the dissolution of the Advertising Standards Panel for approving billboards targeted at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. And this was a move by ARCON just yesterday, 2 days ago, I should think. And that was on Tuesday. And ARCON ordered that the destruction of several billboards across the country should take place, especially that one with the inscription, "All eye on the judiciary." A lot of questions have followed. Olalekan Fadolapo, ARCON Director General, said the advertisement failed to follow vetting guidelines and it is capable of breaching public peace. ARCON has also suspended directors of the agency over vetting regulations. For me, if I'm taking a look at this, I want to first break the words down, right? And the word is "all eye on the judiciary." We've had a couple of these billboards, across Nigerians, and a number of people would really just speak to what it is, which I want to speak to, which is that this is a move by the obedience to say we are following this election petition tribunal and we do not want, because again, it speaks or begs the question of the confidence in the judiciary, of Nigerians in the judiciary. And we're looking at the judiciary to deliver justice as it should on the election petition tribunal. This year's election has actually garnered a lot of petition, if you would agree. And taking it again to I will begin with that this time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to know exactly what you make of this. According to ARCON, this is said to have the possibility, a potential to threaten the peace of the masses. Do you agree?
I don't agree. I totally disagree. In fact, when I saw the report, I first started and watched what is that really happening, and what is the question? All eyes on the judiciary. Anything wrong with that? I think this is just a situation of trying to bring down the voice of the masses. And if you say all eyes on the judiciary, yes, all eyes on the judiciary. If I come out to say all eyes on the judiciary on what about issues, then of course we are saying that the judiciary should do the needful, to ensure that the masses get justice in whatever procedures has to do with the tribunal. So I think with the effort, with the sacking and all that, suspension and all that, I think the major issue has to do with the powers that be wanting to shut the mouth of the masses.
Femi, and this is such a very audacious position that you have taken, and you know these are some of the arguments we now have in the public space, and you see also the pushback to this development since ARCON has suspended its some directors and a whole lot of that. My question seemed to be, how did this fail the vetting procedure? I do not see it as having failed the vetting procedure. I think that it was ARCON believing that there was a fundamental right of citizens to actually defend their democracy, and they actually went ahead to allow this go through. I think that this reaction by ARCON is actually a reaction to intimidation, which maybe the public eye may not be seeing at this time. What's your
There are various dimensions. It doesn't mean that your dimension is wrong.
right or wrong?
It just has a feeling that, you know, we are journalists, and then there are tendencies. When there are certain tendencies, and then those tendencies, you ask yourself, do they preempt certain things? For example, all eyes on the judiciary. There's an ongoing court tribunal, and then there's a clamor that's saying all eyes on. Are you putting the judiciary on the spot?
Under pressure?
Are you putting the judiciary on the spot to say that the judiciary should do certain things? And then you know these people, the people who are peddling these things.
But can we go back to the history of this, Femi, on how we came to the all eye on the judiciary? There were allegations that there are some. What would that be? Some I don't want to.
The judiciary
use the
needs.
word.
I
I do not
understand.
want to
I
use,
understand.
absolutely.
The judiciary needs.
So it's as if people
I
are beginning to
understand.
question
I
and query
understand that
the
the
judiciary
judiciary
with
needs.
this proceeding ongoing.
I understand that the judiciary needs restructuring.
Okay.
But when there are issues on the floor of the house, when there are issues in the judiciary, even as journalists, we know that immediately an issue is in court, we don't
You
report
let go.
it.
Absolutely.
If immediately there is an issue in court, you don't try to meander with one opinion or one article or one report. You let the judges handle the case. So that may be the basis for which there is an argument that says you are not allowing these judges to make decisions. You are not to tell the judge that, Judge, what you said in court is wrong. Your decision is wrong, even when you feel that is wrong.
But this has not gotten to that.
You can seek redress. But when you preempt the courts, you preempt that the courts will be corrupted. You preempt that the courts will kowtow to powers that be. You shouldn't preempt. Allow the courts to do what they need to do. Of course, there are reasons why people are afraid that.
If you agree to speak to the reasons,
there
if
are
we agree
reasons,
to speak to the obvious, of
there are
how
reasons why people are. Recently, Kano State Tribunal, the chief judge called the lawyers and everything and publicly said, "Don't send money to me. Don't call me. Don't give money to anybody and say that I will change my judgment because I am okay. I don't need your money."
If I can take you back,
know that there are
a few weeks back
precedents.
on Twitter, there was such conversation around how they believe that the former Minister of Works, Babatunde Raji-Fatuyi, would be writing or whatnot for the judiciary, and that in the past he's written some, proceeding reports and whatnot and not, with regards to, if I'm not missing it here, I think that would be with regards to the election result that we had in February. I mean, and all of this in a short while culminated into all eye on the judiciary. I mean, I followed how that, moved really fast, and I'm like, okay, we won't deny, and quite frankly, I'm not holding brief for any side, but we won't deny that Nigerians have a cause to sometimes have troubles, maybe believing or upholding. Right?
I agree with you.
Yes.
But like I said, there are other perspectives. If the word all eyes on the judiciary comes from the NLC or from a neutral
body,
agency,
to the
person,
election,
to the elections, then we would have the argument to say this body is a neutral body. Serap has no stake. Serap, an NGO, and all of that, they have no stake in.
But most of the bodies that have actually been coming up to put up mount these billboards are actually maybe pro-democracy or some.
So the question is, like you raised, the question is, are these billboards by pro-democracy activists that do not have stakes, or are they by pro-obedient people who have stakes? So if you are a pro-obedient person and there's a case in court and you're already making all the noise, going for interviews and all of that, it means you want to besmirch the judgment. But if it is by neutral civil activists, then we can now have the argument that people have a right to say we need reforms. And it is true. People have a right to say that we need reforms in the judiciary. People have a right to say we need reforms even in the executive. There is a huge need for reforms. But interested parties in courts need to be civil enough to allow the judges to make the decisions that they need.
You see ACON being right with this move. Some people's fears also goes in the direction of, under the President Muhammadu Buhari, when we had the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria, people are saying, let's quickly speak to the Section 39 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that simply speaks to the freedom of expression. Is this a bit of a threat, Daniel, to freedom of expression? Should people read more meanings to this, or is it just what it is? Take down the billboards that say all eye on the judiciary.
Like I rightly said, it's just something to put the judiciary on their toes, to ensure that Nigerians are watching. We are all watching. Whatever your decisions will be or might be.
You do not think this mounts any pressure?
No.
Femi believes that this mounts pressure, looking especially at who has actually ordered or put up this.
An organization might have been fingers might be pointed at ACON saying, you approved this, and you know that the people who are peddling this are interested parties. Why did you approve it? And ACON may have found a leeway to say, we withdraw and we will find scapegoats who will pay the price.
Hence the suspensions.
You understand?
Gentlemen, we could really continue today to deliberate, to talk, to dissect, agree, disagree on a number of these stories that we have decided to talk on the round table today. Fortunately, we don't go unfortunate on the round table. This is where we draw the curtains. And today we have looked at Tinubu's ministerial designation, the NNPC emergency crude loan, as well as ACON's all eye on the judiciary advert, dissolving the panel and suspending some directors of the agency. This is the round table. Again, gentlemen, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And I've enjoyed the brilliant minds and contributions of Femi Morgan and Daniel Anyotoye. My name is Melanie Ishola. Thank you for joining us again. Do join us next week. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.